What? You know what? Just to be safe. Thing you did ended up saving your ass later?
Flipped over my shoe and shook it, 'cause I had found a spider in it the night before, just to make sure. There was another spider in there. Saving a receipt for a campus parking ticket I paid for during my freshman year of college. They do this thing where they double the ticket amount after a month of not paying. I paid it the week I got it, stuffed the receipt in my bag and forgot about it. Apparently, whoever was in charge of clearing me didn't, and I was told I had an unpaid, doubled parking ticket on my account after like 3 months when I tried to settle up tuition for the semester. Disputed that, and wore a smug-ass look on my face as I directly reached in my bag and pulled the receipt out to show them. I mean, otherwise, I would have had to essentially pay that ticket 3 times. Something tells me it's not the first time that's happened to students there. I was offered a job in Europe, where I was promised a bonus that was X% of my salary, paid twice a year. When the offer was sent, there was no mention of the bonus, and when I questioned why, I was told, "Don't worry, it's in this email with my official company signature." I put that one into the saved folder, just to be safe. Fast forward to moving. On the first payout period, I was told I needed to be with the company for 90 days first before a bonus would be paid. Okay, I was annoyed, but I guess that makes sense. On the second bonus payment, they mentioned that the company hadn't had a great year and nobody would be getting bonuses. More annoyed, but if the company isn't doing great, what are you going to do? I should add this was in 2008. The following year rolls around and the company announces that things have really taken off and they will pay out the previous bonus period, in addition to the current bonus period. Only problem is, I literally handed in my resignation that day. I inquire to find out if I'll be receiving my bonus from the previous bonus period, and they say, "Are you kidding? You just quit." I call a lawyer. I dig up the email from the start of this post, hand that over, and the lawyer says it's a slam dunk case. She goes after both bonus payments from the first year and both bonus payments from the current year, even though one of them hasn't happened yet. Company HQ calls me and tries to get me to drop it, and I refer them to my lawyer. A week later, at my new job, the lawyer informs me that they've paid all 4 bonus payments, and she also went after her own fees, so it cost me nothing. Glad I saved that email. Cover your ass, and do not let others push you around. I've written about this before, but here goes. 4 students of mine won the first prize for a project they did, and we all got a free trip to London. We had spent the day sightseeing and were exhausted, so we got an ice cream and sat on a bench in a park to relax. A couple of minutes later, I noticed this couple walk by slowly, staring at us. My spidey senses go mental. I do not like these people for some reason. She walks by and sits on the bench next to ours, and he sits on the bench across from hers. They aren't talking, just looking at each other. And that is when I notice her reaching into her pockets. I jump up, grab my students, and run out of the park. Why poor students are confused AF and wondering WTF is wrong with me, when all of a sudden we hear screaming. Turns out she stabbed a couple walking through the park, trying to rob them. It scares the ever-loving fuck out of me knowing had I not gotten my students out of there, we would have been stabbed and robbed. I booked a vacation for my wife's birthday in Cabo San Lucas months in advance. For some reason, as I was booking it, I decided to get the trip insurance. I had never done that before, but time this I thought I better do it. Our trip was to be in October. I booked it in June. The beginning of September, a hurricane struck Cabo and did a lot of damage. I contacted the resort, and they said they were not very badly affected. I left the reservation booked. The day before we were to fly to Cabo, I checked the flights and everything was good to go. We got to the airport, and as we were checking, the woman checking in said, "Oh, there's a problem with your connecting flight." Yeah, the problem was the connecting flight had been canceled over a month ago. Yeah, Expedia neglected to tell us that little bit of info. I was able to recoup all of the money we spent because of the insurance. Was remodeling my house, took out a loan, and had to get the house appraised to get the loan. Found that my house was worth $100K more than I had it insured for. Raised my limits on the home insurance to $50K, more than the appraised value, in anticipation of completing renovations. 2 weeks later, house burned to the ground due to a faulty bathroom fan that I did not touch. City, insurance company, and loan company all sent separate investigators due to how shady it looked. A tropical storm was blowing through my city a few months ago, and we were projected to get some wind gusts and significant rain. Because our parking lot isn't large enough for all staff and our clients, a lot of us have to park on the street, which is lined with large, old trees. As I rolled up on the morning we were due to get the storm, I parked in my usual spot down the block. Before I shut the car off, though, I noticed that this particular spot was located directly across the street from one of the largest trees on the block. Thinking, you know what, just to be safe, I put the car in reverse and backed up about 10 feet, safely out of the direct line of fire from any trees. In the middle of that afternoon, in the midst of the howling wind and driving rain, we heard a huge thud down the street. Went to investigate, and that same tree I'd been parked across the street from fell across the road and missed my car by about 8 feet. At that moment, I was glad that I decided to play it safe. The car parked on the other side of the street directly across from where I'd initially been got absolutely destroyed. Crushed roof, windows blown out, just pulverized. I took one of those extra driving classes you always hear about to get the discount on your car insurance. I was in college and my premium was killing me. The one I signed up for was an 8-hour course that I knocked out in one day, and the focus was maintaining control of your vehicle in bad weather. I took it over spring break, which is still a pretty snowy/icy time of year around here. The big test at the end to determine if you got the certificate was to pass the moose test, though some places call it the elk test or the deer test. Either way, to pass the course you had to successfully swerve around some cones on an icy road and regain control of the car on the other side of the cones. So my first day back at school from spring break, I'm driving myself and my roommate from the liquor store back to our dorm in some shitty conditions. I try to turn left into our parking lot and my car just slides straight past it and down a hill. I try to turn the wheel right to get into a different parking lot and get closer, but not quite where I need it to be. I'm heading straight for a telephone pole. My roommate is panicking, but I looked at it and I realized this is just the moose test. I managed to swerve around the pole, narrowly missing a wall of parked cars next to it, and regained control on the other side, finally bringing my car to a stop in an empty section of the parking lot. Then we walked back to the dorm and drank our faces off. So the moral of the story is, those extra driving classes you might take for the insurance discount may just save your life. I was 19 and home for the summer from college. I had a contraband bottle of Bacardi stashed in my bedroom under a pile of clothes and other stuff between my bed and the window. My grandfather appears in a dream and sits me down with this bottle to chew me out. Not for having booze as a kid, but for hiding it so poorly. I wake up, a bit disturbed by this dream, and throw the bottle of Bacardi in a duffel bag and toss that in the trunk of my car as I leave for work. Get home that evening, and the pile it had been stashed under was moved as my mom had set up a table with a fan by the window to get air moving. Grew up in northern WI without AC. Wouldn't have been a fun rest of the summer had I been busted with that. I bought a used Subaru Baja that was 5 years old at the time and had 75K miles for $12,000. The salesman offered an extended warranty that covered the engine for $2,500, would last 3 years, 36K miles. That was kind of a lot, and I usually don't buy those. I don't know what got into me that day, but I said sure. 1 month and 750 miles later, after an oil change at a mechanic shop, oil started shooting into the pistons. I'm not good with cars. Oil went where it wasn't supposed to go. Completely ruined the engine and turbo. The dealer had to keep it for 3 weeks. The warranty company flew someone out to inspect the car and eventually approved a replacement engine, turbo, and any other affected parts. Total repairs cost almost $11,000. And the warranty then applied to all the new parts too. Car drove like it was brand new. Later discovered the car had 5 previous owners before me, but I couldn't find any accident or serious repair history. This is probably the only time buying an extended warranty on something actually worked out in my favor. Many years ago when I was a tech at a call center, I was on a call with the client's IT guy to fix a corrupted database. Their IT guy shared screens with me so that I could work on the recovery. The IT guy renamed the files as fucked_b, fucked_b, etc. Just to be safe, I had him say that it was he who named the files as such and not me. I asked him to confirm this each time I had to touch the files. I took screenshots also. Little did I know, this call was monitored, voice and screen recording. A day later, I got called in by a manager asking me to explain a situation that came out of a recent call I was on. He had only seen a few screenshots that were made by the recording program. I told him to watch the whole video with the synced audio. A few hours later, he called me into his office to apologize for speaking to me with such an accusatory tone. Moral of the story: always cover your ass. And that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it, and don't forget to comment with a similar anecdote or experience related to the video's topic. Leave a like, share the video if you enjoyed it, and lastly, don't forget to activate the notification bell so you don't miss any of our daily videos. Ciao.